Hey guys, what's up? It's Shla. Coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Shla. And it's over. I'm done with the overtime. The higher-ups are deciding to get stingy. So there goes any dreams or aspirations of truly having the dream good life. And of course, you can't expect it in 2025. It's a sad state America's in. Somebody wants to work, wants to do a good job at a company, and I'm shooed away. They don't want me coming in to, continue to do my very good job that I do noticeably better than other people at the company, ridiculously noticeably better than the other people at the company because of greed and stinginess. And they don't want to have to pay overtime to one of the lowest paid people at the company. So, yep, it was an upsetting day because I already explained how this other pretty terrible thing happened to me yesterday that I don't really want to give any details about, and it's probably one of the most upsetting things that's ever happened to me. And yeah, I mean, we're here. I guess to look at the bright side, this will probably be a little bit better for my mental health, as, working as much as I was before was probably taking some kind of a toll on it. I'd have to imagine, even though I think I was better at handling it than most people, and would still do it again in a heartbeat if I was allowed to. But again, we have to deal with, modernity and, not only, so modernity is you can't just work extra at a stable job. Modernity is you have to hop around, produce more carbon emissions, burn more money through your car, so you can have to spend more on gas and pay your car manufacturer more money just to make ends meet, just to live a relatively normal life. That is the reality that is in front of us. I think a lot of my assumptions about the law of attraction seem to be fairly accurate. I saw a video about it today where somebody explained, a lot of these people and architects of it hold a lot of questionable views just on the world and in general. And so I think it's pretty important to keep in mind, and it was kind of what I was talking about, where I feel like somebody who is aware of just how the world functions, a lot of the assertions that the law of attraction asserts don't really seem to make that much sense. So, yeah, I mean, not really sure what else needs to be said about that. I'm noticing it looks like there's a lot of strange traffic up ahead. I'm not really sure what's going on, but, what else is new? I'm coming home a lot earlier than usual, and most likely would have avoided all this had I had been able to. But, of course, here we are. this is what we're doing, apparently. And again, that was one of the big benefits to me leaving when I did, is it allowed for me to avoid a lot of, so many things go on in roads during the day, and I avoid all of them, as a result of leaving as later, like I did. Lots of road closures and traffic. It was a very peaceful and very zen thing I was doing. And again, I obviously want to try to make a case for myself, but it's kind of difficult to do that because it's not like my boss has any problem with what I'm doing. It's the people above him who are having a problem with it. So I could, me talking to my boss about it is meaningless, like that, because that's not the problem. My boss is not the person who is it's not my boss, you know what I mean? It's the people above him, and I don't really have direct contact with them, so it's just I don't get the gist that it's a very organized system they have going on, which is why I think I'm subject to what I'm subject to. We'll just have to see what happens, but it's very frustrating, And I guess there's a real possibility that I have to consider getting a second job because I don't really understand how things are working, but either way, still a downgrade, especially because of the commute home is now going to be messed up. I was really enjoying the lack of traffic, and it's just so much easier, so much less mentally taxing. I have the show, obviously, but, And yeah, the thing that happened yesterday, I think, if anything, it's weighing on me more. It's something that was just, there was such a heavy weight to it. And the fact that, I feel like it's going to take so long to, emotionally process and get over it. And I've noticed that's happened to me throughout my life. I'm just dealt these, strange blows, that I don't really think other people have to deal with. And so, but everybody deals with loss, right? I guess that's not that crazy. I think I'm just more sensitive to it because of how much I appreciate things, and especially the things I have. I'm not ignorant to the value of things, and I don't think most people really treasure things as much as I do. So it hurts big time. And so, yeah, it's definitely sad, and now I'm going to have a lot less money than I thought I was going to, and all that stuff. Just very, because of the, the overtime issue and everything. I don't know. I'm still in a better situation than most people, but having those extra hours really, catapulted me to, pretty good territory. And now it's just wow, And again, that's the worst part is, I want to work more, and they're just not letting me. What are we? What timeline are we in? You know what I mean? It's really sad. It's very sad. So this is just what we're gonna have to get used to. It's quite a bit to get used to, but yeah. And again, like, I mean, even, the thing yesterday is more of a sentimental issue, but they're both kind of the same. And that's the thing with the law of attraction is, I already pointed out some issues with it, but apparently, like, taken to its extreme, and I already kind of already figured this, is there's obviously always that sentiment that bad things happen to good people, and it's kind of just like an unfair reality in life. And it almost seems like the law of attraction's take on that is that bad things don't happen to good people, or like, no, it's like bad things just good or bad things happen to you solely based on your vibrational state. And that is obviously morally confusing. Or no, yeah, it's morally like a gray zone, because there's a lot of people who I think are in a positive way, and bad things still happen to them. And then there are people who are negative. Some people are negative, and good things still happen to them. So I don't really understand how there's a lot of proof for these things, but it's a lot of negative. It's a lot of bad. Right? And yeah, of course, there's a pretty substantial amount of traffic. I'm very like frustrated that I have to go back to dealing with this. It was so good and easy. Like I said, not only the extra pay of the hours, but just the commute. And now, is my company going to pay me extra to leave during traffic? Of course not. And I wish I could talk to someone about this stuff, but nobody cares. Like, nobody. That's one of my biggest frustrations with life, is like nobody listens to that stuff. I've brought it up on the show before, but like, yeah, you should pay employees more to come during the winter. There should be like an extra 50 cents an hour at least, because it's so much more of a hassle to drive in the cold and in the winter than it is in the summer. It's dark out. And yeah, if you're going to make an employee go home during traffic, yeah, you need to pay extra, because think about all the gas I'm losing now. And I mean, I can try to bring this stuff up with my manager, but of course, like, he's cool. It's the higher ups. But it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating that, now I have to contend with this stuff again. I mean, I was really able to avoid it in large part. And it's a double good deed I was doing, because it's lowering the traffic strain for everybody, not just what I have to deal with. But yeah, I mean, it's really upsetting that me doing the right thing and trying to live in a better way results in that getting turned down just because of vague stinginess. It's dirty, it's foul, it's dark. That's what I said right off the bat. It's very dark, and I think that's all very relevant points to point out. Because, yeah, where's my extra money for making me drive home in traffic? Where's the extra money for the extra gas that it costs to drive home in traffic? Where's the extra money for the wear and tear on the car? Where's the extra money for the mental dealings of it? You know what I'm saying? I should be able to leave when I want. If I want to show up and work, why am I not able to do that? So that's the issue with the law of attraction, is that it conflicts with the nature of reality. There are evident truths, about reality that are seemingly impossible to solve. And I mentioned that when I first brought it up. And now that I learn, I don't even think I said, because I'm still really, I'm really going through a lot. I think this is probably the lowest swing of my life downward between what happened yesterday and what I was told today. This is like, I have no idea, absolutely no idea what's going on. They believe that, you know, again, when bad things happen, it's just because of your vibrational state or your mood. And I guess it's possible, you know, that in to some extent that it, like, I believe it to some extent, but I think, honestly, a more accurate verdict is that there isn't all that much control then, because a lot of it would be like generational vibrational energy being passed through to you. Like, there would probably be a ceiling that you can't reach out of to try to get out of it. And like, an example of that for me is if it's followed to its extreme, you know, and I'm not saying I believe this, but it's like the Palestinians, because of their negative input to the Israelis, like, that's what causes the Israelis to attack them. And again, a lot of that stuff would be generational and like group anyway. It's not within a singular Palestinian could have high vibes, conscious, forgiving thoughts, but that doesn't mean anything, because it's not going to change the situation, right? If just one Palestinian. So our vibes are obviously not just about what a singular individual believes. And so I don't understand how it's that fair then, because there obviously is some kind of a residual where you would presumably only be able to move a certain amount upwards just given where you came from. You know, like you probably won't go from being impoverished to a billionaire. It's probably not possible. And I think most billionaires would have came from, again, an already good high vibrational family. But yeah, I mean, I think the root of it, and I think what's correct about it, is that you kind of have to have a positive intention or a positive mindset if you want to succeed. You know, because you can have the potential to, but if you're not practicing the law of attraction, you're going to cut off a lot of potential things, right? Like your will unlocks what your potential is, I guess. But you still have a set potential. I mean, there's some people where I don't really think it matters if they practice the law, like, because if you're already in such a bad situation, for example, you're not going to be able to get out of it. You know, like, what if some people just can't do it? trying to remember what else I was. Oh yeah, like there's some statements like, the war on drugs caused more drug use, and anti-war protests caused more wars because it's like negative and all this stuff. And yeah, I don't know that those things really make that much sense. I know there's kind of loose arguments to things like that. I know, like, it sort of makes sense, sort of believable, particularly with the drugs and how, they made it like a bad and like a strict rule, so now it's seen as cool to do them. And then, like, there's always like appeal for people to be rebels, like that's always cool, it's always seen as cool, like there's all that kind of stuff that goes on. But again, it's one of those things that's kind of crazy because I still don't get the impression that things would be better if it wasn't for any type of intervention into those things. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, does that really make any sense? And like, should people seriously not be anti-war or protest against wars? Like, a lot of this stuff, it sounds like very irrational, and I don't think there's evidence for it. I think that the law of attraction is true and does make sense to some extent, but I don't think that makes any sense. Like, I don't think if we had less anti-war protesters that there would be less wars. That just seems like a joke. Like, that doesn't seem like something that is rational. It doesn't seem like a rational belief, or a belief that there's this, I don't know. I mean, it obviously, it sort of makes sense to some extent, because that whole mindset where you have to think directly positive, you can't think about stopping negative. But I can't see how we'd have a society where all the anti-war protesters stopped and then, like, the leaders would just stop. I can't really see how that makes any sense. Like, I don't, even if, yeah, it just doesn't, it, like, obviously I don't know. To be in opposition to something bad I would classify as high vibrational. I don't know how, like, that doesn't make any sense. Positive, yeah, like, a lot of this stuff, I just don't see how it's that complicated. And a lot of it sounds very, like, interesting. And I guess I can't prove it. I mean, maybe there's merit to it. Maybe this is what holds humanity back. But I don't think it makes that much sense. And so that's kind of why I'm saying, with the bad things that happen to me, I'm not really sure. I don't know how much it really would have mattered. And then the other thing too that I thought was a good point is, what about people who go through manic episodes? There's obviously a lot of truth and very strong belief about things, and yet we don't see those people succeed typically when people are in a manic state. Their thoughts actually don't usually materialize. But I'm sure, like, the law of attraction people have an explanation for that. But it is a dark industry. It's an industry full of people who, I think, there's a lot of profit, and it's not really, Like, I genuinely think that I still agree with it as a point of view. And it's something that I want to work on. I want to work on, being positive no matter what. But I see it as underneath an umbrella. I don't see it as like, this is the way everything would change. And again, maybe that's holding me back. I guess I will kind of do more research into it. Maybe it's possible that it is true. It's just the people presenting it are untrue, or something like that. I'm not really sure. Yeah, because maybe you could make the argument that a lot of these people professing it, they're just doing it for greed. And, in reality, it maybe that's not the truth. Maybe it shouldn't be done that way. You know what I mean? But yeah, I really feel like I'm going to have to, especially because I have the time too. Like you guys have seen the timestamps. I've been getting home in less than 40 minutes consistently. I think this is easily going to be 45. It's just I just don't understand why I need to come home at this time. And there's no way for me to fix it, because the only thing I could do is I used to go to work and then walk. No, but there's just no way to make it work. There's literally no way for me to try to fudge it. Because even if I added an entire hour, no, I guess that would make a difference. But then I'm coming home late. And it just gets kind of ridiculous because I'm not getting paid for. Sorry, I'm thinking more than I'm speaking. So what I could do is when I get to work, not clock in and just walk around for 30 minutes or maybe even longer, and then clock in later, and then I could also take an hour lunch instead of a 30-minute lunch. And that kind of pushes the time. But, yeah, and it probably would be better. But again, I would be making no more money, and I'd get home an hour, almost an hour later. Because, again, I'd probably save time with traffic. But it's kind of I'd be getting zero more money and getting home so much later. I don't really know how worth it that is compared to my schedule now of being able to clock in the second I pull in, using the phone to clock in. I just don't think that's within my best interest, It's just a shame because you think about it, and inevitably it's reducing the lifespan of my car, pretty hugely, to have to drive through this much traffic as opposed to, there's some traffic sometimes when I was leaving before, but wow, was this bad? And again, it's not the patience. I don't care about having to wait in traffic. It's about the cost. You know what I mean? It's so destructive to the car, and it's destructive to the car, so it's going to inevitably increase maintenance costs, and then it's also costing me more gas because it's I'm going from getting, we'll see when I get home, but getting a 5 mile per gallon drop, which is kind of a lot of money. Because if I'm doing 5 miles per gallon, I'm trying to think of how to calculate that. If gas is $3, Like, it's under $3, but we'll just say if gas is $3 a gallon, and I'm losing 5 miles per gallon. It's tricky to figure out. I don't really feel like doing the math right now. It's not really that interesting either. Like, obviously, if you really want to know the answer, you can just use AI on the listening end. I'm not going to figure it out. I will look it up another time if I remember, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, but it's really not the gas. It's mainly the again, the extra wear on the car. Like, it's just ridiculous that I'm subject to that because a company's being stingy. I mean, I really am not thrilled about these developments. But we'll see. I mean, maybe it's possible I'm overreacting. It's possible that I'm just overreacting. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we'll end up seeing the time difference. Wow, what am I even talking about? Oh yeah, the law of attraction. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of truth to it though, because you can have a better life by changing your reaction to things. It's true. Like you end up feeling better, even if your situation is the same, by just, having better reactions to things and all. It's true. So there's merit to that. I don't think that is an incorrect statement. But I think it gets hazy when you start to think it's an overarching thing that, like, could completely change your life. I mean, again, I don't know for certain. Like, I'm not going to act like I know how the universe works, but... And then you also have conflicting things, too, where... Well, no, because then, if your will is stronger, you would attract what you want stronger over somebody else. I don't know. Not really sure. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, but like I said, we are genuinely at like a low point, and I hope it's not like my fault because of the law of attraction kind of stuff. I hope it's not. Because if that stuff's real, then, I mean, that could have triggered it. But, I don't know. I just don't know. The guy in front of me is going very slowly, which is okay. I don't really mind. But yeah, it's true though. Like there is a magic to that, but I just disagree with, like, that would be my take on it, is that you're still limited by your parents and whatever like thoughts they kind of put out into the world. And I do think you probably have a spiritual tie to your parents. I mean, you are like their flesh incarnate, really, when you think about it. So, whatever karma they had generated at your birth, I would assume got passed to you. Like, I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. I don't know. I can't see how that wouldn't be the case. I think that makes more sense than what they're espousing, which is like it's all in your control. But again, when it comes to mental health and being successful, I think it makes sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense to believe that you do have the power to change your outcome. And these are good beliefs to take in your subjective, but I don't think it addresses like systemic inequality and how things have just gotten worse. And it almost perpetuates the ignorance of the masses, because the masses, if somebody believed this, they would just think that oh yeah, what's the point in voting? It's not, there's no reason to do that. I just have to like think. It's just certain extremes of it. But it sounds very cool. I mean, you would want to believe. I feel like you would want to believe that the world operated that easily and simplistically. Just don't know that there's really evidence for it. Like, I don't know if there's enough, well, broadly speaking, like, I think you have certain ceilings to these things, I don't know. I just don't know that it's an overarching belief, genuinely. Sorry, you can probably hear it got very rainy very fast, and it's like I can't even see. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but like, this is very strange. I don't think I've seen it this rainy like ever. Yeah, it's weird. So I'll get soaked when I get home, it's more of the usual. Well, I mean, it's not usual, but it's something, No, but it honestly might stop by the time I get home, because it's like a sun shower. So yeah, we'll manifest that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but no, I'm seriously like, I think more people with what happened yesterday and today, I think they'd be spazzing out even more. Like, I don't know, is that what life is? Like, going through different pains and kind of getting numb over it, or getting, just becoming stronger? I mean, what else is there, and like, how much does the material even matter, right? It's like, the one thing I will say, and I do continue to believe, is it's pretty frustrating how uninformed and poorly informed a lot of adults in my life are, because, you know, I'm very aware of things and nobody else is, and it's just very stressful. I know I talk about this a lot, but I guess I'm just verbalizing it again because I think that it's relevant, and I was thinking about it, I was feeling it, you know? So, yeah, I mean, it's the truth. Like, I want people who are adults to be very cognizant and conscious of things. Oh man, this guy in front of me, man, why did he have to do that? I'm sorry, it's just like, I get a little bit frustrated because he could have went and took the turn, but instead he didn't, and he stopped. So then, like, I had to go all the way down from 5th gear to first, you know, and like back up again. It's like these poor choices end up really negatively affecting things. Yep. But yeah, I do agree with it to some extent, and I mean, but you have to wonder, like, I think my life would have been better if I was more positive, though. That's what I'm saying. There has to be merit to that. I feel like most people, in retrospect, like, if they were more positive, their life would be better. I don't really think there's much of a debate to that. Besides, maybe you could end up getting yourself in trouble, like if you're a bit too naive. And I guess you could make the argument I kind of was with a lot of the effort I put into things. It was kind of like too naive. So maybe I was too attraction pilled. Even subconsciously, even subliminally attraction pilled, because I didn't... Yeah, I don't know. I think I thought people were a lot better than they were, you know, and that's kind of a result of the law. Yeah, I mean, we'll end up getting home, I want to say, about 8 minutes. It's 8 minutes longer. I want to say that. I mean, it really is not like it's not going to be a fun situation to have to deal with. Like, I think I forgot, because for so long, like, it had just been getting better and better, and then now it's just like way back to like way terrible again. And yeah, I mean, it's, wow, like, you know, like, really, it's good I have the show. I mean, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I kind of have to recover from what I'm going through before I'll be firing on all cylinders enough to capitalize on what's going on. Because yeah, it's definitely less efficient. Like, again, it's not a full 10 minutes, but it's close. It's close to like a 10-minute longer commute. And then it's probably about a 5 mile per gallon drop in, you know, efficiency. So there's a lot of extra cost that comes as a result of that. And, you know, the gas isn't really the main concern. It's all the extra shifting that the transmission has to do up and down, the engine going from up and down. I mean, it's not good for the car. It's going to end up costing me more. I just can't believe, like, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it's really crazy. Like, I wonder if they would just be okay with not paying me overtime or something like that. I don't know. Because, like, I'd be down. I'd definitely be down to just, like, you know, get the hours and not be paid overtime for them. I don't know. I feel like that should solve any potential discrepancy. Although, I mean, it still would kind of stink, but be like, I'd be completely okay with that. I don't know if it's illegal though. But I thought overtime was not really a thing that was necessarily illegal. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, maybe I'll make that proposition. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be paid overtime. That's just kind of like a side thing. I mean, as long as I'm getting paid, I'll do the, like, because I mean, if that was the case, I don't know how they would be not okay with it. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't need the overtime pay. Like, I just want to be paid. I mean, well, the overtime pay makes it so it's more of a, reasonable wage, but I'm saying if they're being, like, stingy, I can't see how they could make an argument that, like, if they just paid me regular time, like, couldn't I, like, sign a form or something that I don't need, like, I can, like, opt out of overtime pay or something like that? I mean, I'd have to do the math, because it would be a pretty steep hit, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to mention that to him just to see what they say. I mean, I don't think that's going to go through, but I just can't, like, if they didn't pay me overtime, I don't see what the argument is. Like, there's no argument at that point. But no, actually, it looks like we're basically hitting like 10 minutes. So I will be happy to report that I get home about 10 minutes late, 10 minutes worth of extra traffic, and 5 mile per gallon less fuel. So, yeah, I'm sure it's just, yeah, it's silly. It's really silly. But yeah, I don't know. It's been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya, schla.